I never thought that I was going to get the chance to see Oh Mary on Broadway. I mean, every time I would look at ticket prices, they were always so expensive, like in the $400 range. And I just did not want to spend that amount of money on this. And I'm glad I didn't. I was so intrigued because there were so many celebrity endorsements. There, you saw Steven Spielberg and Jennifer Aniston. People were going to see the show and supporting Cole Escola. I mean, it's a very well-produced show. It's so well-produced, I have a feeling that it will end up winning the Tony for Best Play. I mean, we'll see how it all unfolds when we get there. It's just a silly play. I mean, I had fun seeing it, to be completely honest. I wasn't like laughing out loud as I would have hoped or would have expected, but it's silly and it's fun. And I did laugh at points. It's so historically inaccurate. Like my dad, I was on the phone with him after. He wanted to know how it was. He's a big lover of history. And I told him right away, I was like, the show is not for you. I feel like people going with the assumption that it is more of a historically accurate representation of the days leading up to Abraham Lincoln's assassination, I think they will be very disappointed. If I were to describe it, I kept thinking about RuPaul's Drag Race, but more specifically Snatch Game. Snatch Game is when the contestants do celebrity impersonations and try to make RuPaul laugh. And that's what that's what it felt like. It felt like Mary Todd Lincoln was who Cole Escola was playing Snatch Game as, and then was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to write a show from this perspective. It's not Mary Todd Lincoln at all, and it's not trying to be. It's more of a story about a repressed housewife that wants to be a star, and I think that is successful. I think that really works, as long as you don't take it too seriously, which I have a feeling if you're going, not to. But I thought that this would be a really great opportunity for me to finally go and see it. One, because ticket prices were coming down. I did end up getting a rush ticket. Also because Betty Gilpin stepped into the role, and there were a few other cast changes as well. But I'm a huge fan of Betty Gilpin. I have loved her ever since I saw The Hunt. I think that is one of my favorite film performances of all time. So I was really intrigued. Why was Betty Gilpin selected for this character? Now, Betty Gilpin is able to do comedy very well and very nuanced. I was curious to see her perform a character that is more outlandish. I left feeling like she was the perfect choice to replace Cole Escola. This was a stroke of genius to put Betty Gilpin in this role. Cole Escola has written a character that is beyond outlandish and beyond ridiculous, but Betty Gilpin is able to get to that ridiculous place, but is also able to keep the character grounded and honest. Like every one of Mary's actions in the show feels like it comes from a very honest place. I also loved her comedic timing. It was more so like physical gags and then also funny commentary. The costume that Mary wears by Holly Pearson, I mean, that skirt is hilarious and does so much work. I kept wondering, I was like, how fun is it to run around the stage in that skirt? Great job with the costumes. I thought that was wonderful. Phillip James Brannon also is in the show as well. He's a new cast member playing Mary's husband, and very much commits to this take on the character. I do think that there will be some history lovers who may take issue with some of the jokes about Abraham Lincoln in this show. I do think at a certain point they kind of take it too far. It got stale for me a little bit. The joke, I don't want to spoil what the joke is, but the thing that they keep harping on when it comes to Abraham Lincoln and keep poking fun of, although seems to, I believe that there's some evidence of what they make fun of being true. I just felt that the joke gets kind of stale at some points. Like I wanted them to move on from it. However, I am happy to say that it does build to something more significant in the story. So there is a payoff to why they're focusing so much on this. Chris Renfro, they are fantastic. I don't think I've been familiar with Chris's work to a certain extent, but I just thought like they belong on stage. They just completely took over the show but they didn't overshadow their stage partners. So I think that's also important to recognize. But Chris Renfro did a fantastic job in the role that they're playing. And I was very impressed. I'd really like to see them get more work off of this. I'd like to see them do another show if they're up for it. I mean, they have done television work, but yeah, just really well done on stage. Here is a view from my seat. I got a rush ticket for $47. I was very happy about this. It was partial view, and I was nervous about this. Honestly, it really wasn't terrible. If anything, my recommendation would be go for a partial view seat, but sit house right. If you're able to, like if they try to sell you house left at the box office, just ask them if there's any availability for partial view house right. Because although my seat was totally fine, there is a like love seat on stage that does get blocked during the show. Anytime they were sitting on the love seat or sitting near it, I wasn't able to see what was happening there. It did not ruin my experience. I was fine just listening to what was going on. But if I were to do it again, I would go for a partial view house right, because I'm guessing it's better. I can't confirm whether or not or what you might miss from sitting there, but I think you would see a lot more of the action from house right. So should you see Oh Mary before it closes? To me, it was a curiosity thing. I had seen the brilliant marketing and also all of those celebrity endorsements, and I was like, all right, I got to go see what this show is about. So if you're still curious about the show, go get that rush ticket, enter the lottery. By the way, actually, fun fact, I ran into someone unexpectedly that I knew, and he had done the lottery the same day that I did, and we ended up in the same section and paid the same price for a ticket. So if you're in the area and you're able to go get a rush ticket first without entering the lottery, I would try that way. I mean, my advice would be don't overpay for a ticket if you don't have to. Those are my thoughts on Oh Mary playing at the Lyceum Theater. I would love to read your thoughts in the comment section below. I would also really appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to check out some of my other reviews and theater related content on my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to stay off your phones while at the theater.